without Ukraine and behind its backs, or perhaps more precisely, with knives in its back. And I will say what I will say next. I will say as someone who was born under Russian-led Soviet occupation in the Czech Republic, and some of whose ancestors are generations of Czechs from Sudetenland. My ancestors were some of the first people who were detrimentally affected by their German neighbors' radicalization into Aryan anti-Slavic racism and Nazism. And the Czechoslovak society had to live and be killed under the consequences of the 1938 Munich so-called agreement that sacrificed Czechoslovaks to Nazi Germany for an illusion of peace. We know that there was no peace under an imperial occupation, and that the deal made about us without us by our allies, who chose to become no allies, did not stop the war or genocide, but it enabled them. This is why the day before the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, there was a demonstration in Prague that recalled this. Generations of us had grown up with the collective and individual trauma of German and Russian invasions, and so none of this has ever become a long past history because we never had the luxury of being not affected by any of this. In Prague, the day before the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, there was a demonstration to which people brought a banner that had the 1938 map of Czechoslovakia with Hitler's face looming over it, positioned next to the current map of Ukraine with the image of Putin as the leading aggressor of chief, and an inscription above these images that said, "No appeasement this time." Generations of us know that imperial expansionist politics and wars of aggression cannot be opposed or stopped by appeasing their perpetrators and betraying those they attack. When many of us see Ukrainians being pressured into surrender to a genocidal invasion, we identify with them deeply.
Die merken es aber noch nicht
From our
mal. Die
perspective
merken es ja noch nicht mal. Sie
and
merken es
historical
nicht.
experience, both Russia and Germany have a violent legacy in Europe's east and a particularly brutal legacy in Ukraine. As such, Germany now stands before a unique historical opportunity to step up and support instead of sabotage Ukrainian defense, and to support those it once harmed so deeply, and to right these wrongs for a better present and future. And this relates to the whole spectrum of German politics, including the left, to which I want to say, one cannot fight fascism by depriving a society oppressed and killed under a military invasion of the means of self-defense. And one cannot claim that they are against the far right and deny the occupied the means to defend themselves against genocide. And one cannot be an anti-fascist while disregarding the voices of societies across the eastern half of Europe. If one does that as a German leftist, then one replicates instead of challenges some very old yet persistent patterns of Aryan racist treatment of Eastern European populations.